In today's headline news, Barack Obama has sounded a very ominous alarm with regards to Donald Trump, and it includes the phrase Americans are at risk, and I have all the concerning details for you next. The Breaking Obama story is about Trump and his misuse of our military, but it's not the only military misuse story that is trending today. First up, I have a story that involves both warships and warship, as reported by the Daily Beast and Wall Street Journal, and on the other side, I'll have Obama's grave warning. It begins with a Daily Beast headline, U.S. Navy wants to hold a massive boat parade to cheer up Trump. And highlights from the Cameron Adams article include,
the U.S. Navy is reportedly planning a lavish parade of its own after a multi-million-dollar military parade earlier this year left him feeling flat. Trump hosted the military's largest parade in decades in Washington, D.C. on June 14th to mark 250 years of the U.S. Army and conveniently also his 79th birthday. Photos suggested that the president rested his eyes at one point during his birthday party. Crowd figures were also less than impressive. While White House Communications Director Stephen Chung claimed over 250,000 patriots turned up for the June 14th parade, significant gaps in the crowd suggested attendance fell far short of early predictions of 200,000 people. Meanwhile, no King's protests around the country on Trump's birthday became one of the biggest ever single-day protests in America, drawing over 4 million people in 820 locations.
And the Wall Street Journal actually broke the story with the headline, in Trump's second term, a bolder president charges ahead unchecked. Have a listen, and then Obama has unchecked thoughts of his own.
Trump is in the weeds of the government in a way he wasn't during the first term, urging firings and hirings at agencies and giving ideas, administration officials said. Trump has also pushed the optics of the presidency in a monarchical direction, holding a military parade in June for the Army's 250th birthday. Officials had thwarted a similar one in his first term by arguing it would look like a third-world spectacle. After the Washington parade, Trump told aides he was disappointed with the marching, and the U.S. Navy is trying to plan a bigger celebration this fall, hoping for a shimmering spectacle with seacraft, administration officials said. Brian Lanza, a lobbyist and Trump ally, said, there is no longer anyone standing behind Trump waving off what he's saying. Lanza said the staff in this White House wants to follow what Trump says, not try and change him. There were lots of debates in Trump 1.0 about what he should do and what he couldn't do, Lanza said. He's just executing this time. The Trump era is marked by concentrating federal power in the Oval Office. I have the right to do anything I want to do, Trump said Monday.
So that's the warship. With the warships, the Navy is planning. But what about the nefarious planning by our bone-spurred commander-in-chief? Former President Obama sounded the alarm and turned it up to 11 today with a post that read, the erosion of basic principles like due process and the expanding use of our military on domestic soil puts the liberties of all Americans at risk and should concern Democrats and Republicans alike. And he linked to a New York Times page with a video that you have to see for yourself.
Keeps flickering back and forth. Looking at the Trump administration is like that for me. Though the flickering is between, this is democracy. The American people are getting what they voted for good and hard. Or this is authoritarianism, at least the road to authoritarianism. I can see the picture of a president doing what he was elected to do. Donald Trump ran, unquestionably, on mass deportations.
We will begin the largest deportation operation in the history of the United States.
He ran on reversing a historic surge of migration into this country.
They're coming from everywhere. They're coming at levels that we've never seen before. It is an invasion indeed.
He won on that platform. He is just doing what he promised. He's tripling ICE's budget. He's funneling tens of billions of dollars to build detention centers. In LA, protesters tried to obstruct him, so Trump called up the National Guard. And after years of railing about crime levels in our major cities, Trump is using the power he has over Washington, D.C. to do something about it, to show Americans that he's doing something about it. I don't like any of this. I certainly didn't vote for it. But Trump promised, and Americans did vote for, the biggest deportation operation in U.S. history. It was always going to be ugly and cruel. So I can see that picture. And then it flickers, my eyes refocus. I see the evisceration of due process.
Show me right now. warning. Why? This is illegal. Watch our back. Watch our back. Watch our back.
I see them building detention centers where it is extraordinarily hard for lawyers and families to reach the people in them. I see men in masks refusing to ID themselves.
We don't need to give you IDs.
And pulling people into vans. I see armed U.S. troops in camo, some on horseback, riding through MacArthur Park in Los Angeles like they're an occupying army. I see Trump sending in armed forces to take over the American Capitol. What is going to happen when, predictably, a protester throws a rock at an agent, or a Marine hears a car backfiring and thinks they heard a gunshot? In an instant, this could all explode. You could have American troops firing on American civilians in an American city and a country-defining crisis. And then what? What happens then? Because that's the other picture I see, the one that keeps coming into clear focus. Not Trump cleaning up crisis or disorder, but Trump creating crisis and disorder so he can build what he has wanted to build, an authoritarian state, a military or a paramilitary that answers only to him, that puts him in total control. And I wonder, are these pictures even different? Trump promised all of this. You can destroy democracy somewhat democratically. Radley Balko is a journalist who has written about policing and criminal justice for decades. He's the author of Rise of the Warrior Cop, The Militarization of America's Police Forces, and he writes the terrific Substack, The Watch, where he's been tracking the militarization and the escalation of all this under Donald Trump.
That was Ezra Klein, and that was just a 3-minute intro to his 1-hour interview with journalist Radley Balko, and it is scary as hell. To find and watch for yourself, visit the New York Times site and look for Trump is building his own paramilitary force. Think about it. Barack Obama just shared it. I don't know about you, but I think that signals DEFCON 2. I would actually say 1 in terms of concern, but we still have to leave some room for Trump's actions because we just don't know if he has any limits. Obama's words are not casual commentary. They are a flashing red light from someone who knows the levers of power and the dangers of abuse. He once commanded the same military and is warning that Trump's plan puts the liberties of all Americans at risk. That is the alarm from the highest level, and now the question is, who or what will rise up and stop the madman before it's too late? I'm Dan. Thanks for watching. Please leave your thoughts with a comment below, and let's continue to occupy democracy together.
We now have a situation in which all of us are going to be tested in some way. And we are going to have to then decide what our commitments are.